Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Book 91. We are here sitting down with Daryl and Philisia, and we're having an interesting conversation. If you guys haven't watched Family or Fiance, then you've been missing out. Okay, this was one of those crazy episodes where there was so much ups and downs and twists and turns around. There was vulnerability, there was tears. Yeah, there was even, a good friend that was too close to the fire, and that there was a lot that was happening on that particular episode, and lots of talking points as well. And this is a channel where we like to have real deep, real truthful conversations. And I've been presented with the honorable task of having a great open discussion with this lovely couple of newlyweds, right? As well, isn't it? Newlyweds.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
And you also had a child as well, wasn't it?
Oh, I have a yes.
She's my bonus daughter, so same.
My daughter
She's to the family.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's my
Okay. See, this is what I'm trying to say. So this is what I'm saying. Yo, we're having these new beginnings. Okay, cool. Anyway, sorry. I'm excited. You can tell I'm excited, guys. I'm excited. All right, listen. So before we go away, guys, before we do anything, if you're new to the channel, please do me a favor, like it, share, subscribe, click on that bell button for notifications of the uploads. And for those of you who are returnees, you already know you got the minerals. All right, let me introduce my lovely guests, Daryl and Philisia. How are you doing today?
Philisia,
sorry. Do you know I am the worst with names. I am so sorry. Keep reminding me. If I get it wrong, keep reminding me, sir. All right. No worries, stay on my toes. All right.
No problem.
Yeah.
Thanks for having it. Seriously, man. I'm just joking around. I've seen some of your other publications, but yeah. Thanks for having us, man.
Yeah.
We're happy to be here.
No, I appreciate that.
Let's get to the truth.
I hear you, sis. I hear you. Listen, okay, so this episode was a crazy episode. Episode 8 of Family and Fiance was a crazy episode, right? There was a lot that was going on where within the scope of that 45 minutes or so of the show. And the main talking point, obviously, was the best friend Keith. So I want to jump straight in there, dive in deep. You know what I'm saying? I got to dive in deep, but before I do, I got to do human verification. You already know how I do. I got to do human verification. Got to make sure y'all actually here, and this ain't no deep fake. You know what I'm saying? All right. Let me ask you one question here. Question number 1 is BMW, Mercedes
for sure.
Fantastic. Okay. Cool.
We both own Mercedes.
Yeah.
What particular Mercedes you own?
I just have a GLC 300.
Yeah. We keep it simple.
Just a GLC 300. Some of us have got micros, but okay, cool. S, sir.
No, we don't have an S. I said that's mid class.
I was gonna say
we're middle class.
This is when you said S. I was like, you just saying S like there's no the S is no special.
Oh no. We spend our money on other things that appreciate about it.
No worries at all. Okay, cool. So we got Mercedes in the bank. All right, cool. Second question here: chocolate or sweeties?
What sweeties?
Like
confectionery. I don't know how you guys say it in American. Like sweeties, like
the sweet tarts or whatever.
Yeah, like lollipops and stuff like that. Stuff I don't know how to jelly butter. Like
chocolate.
Candy.
Yeah.
Oh, is that how you look called? Candy.
Yeah, candy.
But
sweeties. That's kind of cute.
Candy. Wow, the English and the American English is different. It's mad out here. All right, cool. Got that. A last final question. I think you've heard this before. Cereal or the milk in first? Cereal
first. Yes, cereal first.
Man, now that I'm
no pressure, bro.
I have tried it the other way with the milk in first.
And what happened? Was it not a blessing?
No. I like it the traditional way. Cereal first.
Mm-hmm. Both of you are serial killers. That's why you like it that way. No worries. All right, cool. Human verification done. Let's get into the meat of the conversation. So, Philisia, thank you. I just want to make sure I got that right. Fantastic. All right, cool. All right, so no, I mean, in all honesty, it was a touching episode. It was, like I said, ups and downs. Now, the main part of this particular show, I think a lot of people, especially I think us men, we were triggered. I know I was triggered. I was triggered personally. You know what I mean? Yeah, bro. I was triggered for you and for myself, right?
Yeah.
And it was because obviously the friendship that was cultivated with Keith. So I'm going to ask some really straightforward questions, just to get a bit more better understanding. Give us a bit of better understanding of how this friendship was formed, because we know there was college. We know there was 12 years ago. We know that, but we don't really know I'm not saying give us the literal in and outs of it, but give us a little bit of the formation of this particular friendship.
So I met Keith in the student union at UAPB. It was kind of odd because he had mutual friends that I was also friends with. And at that time, I didn't know anything about him. He was just, a guy that was always cracking jokes. And I kind of thought the jokes were a little lame, but everybody laughed at it, whatever. I don't remember which person introduced us, but they kind of said like, oh, he kind of likes you a little bit. And I was like, oh no, he's not my type. But we just kind of became friends from there. Once I established that, he cool, we can hang out, all of us as friends. It was never just a me and Keith situation. And I think even in college, what people should understand is that we didn't label ourselves as best friends. That didn't come about until later. Somebody else kind of threw that out there and we went with it. But it wasn't like, oh, this is my bestie. I talk to him every day. I see him every day. We've never had that type of relationship. We were just cool.
Okay, cool. So just cool. I hear that. So obviously, just got to ask that question again. How Keith? Keith obviously has got his own agenda. We understand that. But obviously, from your perspective, maybe you can give us a bit of background in terms of maybe this is something that you see differently because maybe the way you've grown up or stuff like that. I think for some of us, if you hear someone likes you, them becoming your friend is a very tricky area to handle, because that person kind of likes you now, innit? So it's a bit like, if I keep you close, you kind of a danger, etc., etc. So, I mean, did that not ever cross your mind in terms of the fact that, okay, he likes me now, this friendship is really more of a time and season thing, like, before he kind of shows true colors and stuff like that?
So I think it's confusing because everyone is looking at it like he's just always around, and I've always gotten a vibe from him that he likes me. Like from the moment, like I just explained to you in college, where they said, oh, he kind of likes you, like it was dead at that point. And again, we weren't hanging out every day. I probably saw Keith in passing in the student union in college. So we weren't hanging out like that. When I moved to Dallas, that's when I feel like we got closer. But even then, it wasn't an everyday conversation. It wasn't an everyday we're hanging out. So in my mind, that he kind of likes you happened in college, and that was that. Even when Daryl came into the picture, he and Daryl kind of talked more than I would talk to him. I was like, dang, he didn't even check on me, but this is my best friend. They were, he would talk to me through him, so to speak. And the same thing with Daryl's best friends. Like he has female best friends.
I'm coming to him. Don't worry.
So I guess in my mind, if he can put those girls in their place, and no one has any ill feelings towards them. It was the same thing with Keith. I knew I was never going to cross a line with him. I knew I didn't like him like that. And again, he never came at me sideways. Like it seems like it on the show, but he just never crossed any lines with me except for one time. And the one time he did that, he and I were just starting to date. We were at a day party, right? And I was there with my female best friend and like one of her homegirls. I'm not really her best friend, but we were all there. And then Keith actually shows up. So he comes up behind me. He's like dancing. He's not on me, but he's like dancing behind me close. And I turned around and I was like, Keith, no, you can't do that anymore. Like, you could play before, but now I have a man. Like, you can't cross any lines like that. And Daryl was nowhere around. So, once that one thing happened again, it was like, don't play with me like that. So we never had that issue before. So I think that's why it's a little tricky. Like, I just never had him cross a line once I checked him about, hey, Daryl's my man and I'm going to be with him. And this is maybe a month, right? How long into our relationship?
It was way past a month.
No, I'm talking about when he danced behind me.
It was way past a month.
Was it?
Yes.
Oh. I don't remember it being past a month, but it was early on.
Okay. It was in the beginning though. This was like 2 or 3 years ago. This was 2 years ago.
I understand.
Yeah, we've been
Like
together
2+ years ago.
almost 3.
Yeah.
3. Today 3. Today 3.
Oh, today's 3.
3 years.
Congratulations, man. Congratulations.
October 19th.
Congratulations. No?
Thank you.
The way Daryl was shaking his head, I was like, Daryl, what are you saying? What are you shaking your head for? Is it not 3? I was like, oh, I was scared.
Oh,
I was like,
I
Daryl,
don't
no.
know. I'm
I was
saying
like, I was
I
getting
don't know.
scared.
I'm saying I don't know.
No, we were in between the dates. We said we were going to choose the 19th or the 20th, one of them, because it's Shelby's birthday.
Calm. No, I get that. Okay, so just obviously, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't pick up on language. So language, you said he didn't do that again. So I just want to make it very, because obviously, people are going to be asking this. They're going to be like, Coach, you didn't get onto them and didn't ask questions. Okay, so the language you just used a minute ago, you said obviously Keith hadn't done that again. So just kind of clarify, what do you mean by done it again? Had he tried to make a pass before that? Had he been a bit too fruity before that? Had he been a bit, showing some signs of coming outside of the friendship box? What did you? Because that's just because of the language you use. I want to make it very clear also.
No, that was my point. I'm saying from that moment when he danced behind me, he hadn't done it again. Like it didn't happen.
Oh,
again.
okay.
That's what I mean. Like from that point on.
Fair enough. Okay, cool. We'll revisit this in a second.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, go. Finish, please.
And I was going to say, even in college, he never did anything like that inappropriate to me. I think I would have been a little bit more understanding to the vibe that Daryl was getting had he been doing things like that consistently and crossing lines like that even before Daryl came around.
Some would say female intuition. Did female intuition not kick in?
I think
some might say.
It's so weird to me because I never got that feeling from him. I didn't.
Fair enough. So you were going to say that? Go for it.
No, it sounds like you're saying that she should have known better. She should have friend zoned them and left it at that. Instead
of his friend.
I said, listen, I've had these conversations with her, so I get where you're going. That's why I'm just listening. And even like I know how she talks. Like even when she said anymore, it implies that he did it several times before that moment. But she means from that point on, don't ever do this again. And she's saying anymore, so it sounds like she means like it's happened before that moment.
Yeah,
I know her, so but I don't want to jump to her defense. I want you to attack her.
No, I wasn't gonna attack her. No way. It's just so we get a bit more clarity. Do you know what I'm saying? Let's get a bit more clarity on that. But don't worry, I'll park Keith a little bit. Because obviously you're not the only one who's got a best friend here who's of the opposite sex. Okay, so Daryl, you've got a female best friend. If I remember correctly, I had 2. You had 2 female best friends. Was that correct, or was it 1?
I do. The difference is I don't say it loosely. Like I feel like how people say, "Oh, he's the GOAT." Like that at the time, in that moment, that guy is the GOAT, right? I feel like when she references her best friend, in this regard with Keith, I think she's just saying it off of that's a reference. That's not really the relationship. With my best friends, these are like actual best friends. We call each other, we talk about anything, those type of things. And honestly, the one I'm the closest with, I talk to the least. So that's just our situation.
Okay. So obviously, I mean, how do you effectively keep boundaries then in your friendships with obviously the opposite sex? Because that's a very important question there, how do you police the boundaries?
Both of my best friends are married. One is divorced, but one is married. So it's like they understand what it's like to be in committed relationships. They don't, and they're not childish. Women are more mature than men. I grew up. I'm the little brother of 2 older sisters, so it's natural for me to be around women. I'm cooler with women than I am with men sometimes.
Okay, so you're cooler with women than you are with men sometimes, right? What does that mean?
I really never use the term bestie or best friend, only when it applies to women. Like I call my guy my best friend on my show, right? But he's really my brother. He's like the closest friend. But I never in life say the term best friend because I feel like if I befriend you, everybody should be a good friend to me. So I think like labeling somebody best friend is just like it's childish, to be honest with you. But when with women, like in her situation, oh, that's my bestie, that's my best friend, and, you just go with the flow.
I get you. I mean, because to be honest, I have a female best friend, so I'm understanding where both parties are coming from, right? So I know how it can get sticky. Not with my female best friend, but I mean, I can see how it is sticky.
Yeah, I don't know if I
answered that real quick. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't even know if I answered your question, but yeah, there are boundaries. Like I said, they're more mature than her opposite sex former friend or whatever he is. But no, in all seriousness, man, like they know, they kind of it's unconscious. Like they're cognizant to be respectful and kind. She's cool with him. She, I was just coming back from Colombia. I didn't lost my phone, but it broke, and I had to use my laptop to get back. And I actually stayed at my friend's house in Miami. I would talk to her on the phone, FaceTime her, and her.
Look at his face.
Exactly. I'm just saying it's a lot. Listen, man, Sean said, like, I'm super confident.
Exactly.
It's a fine line between being super confident and arrogant, right?
Yeah.
I'm super, super, super confident, almost arrogant in the regard that I could trust this lady no matter what. Trust is like a big factor in our relationship. Respect goes a long way. So she's the type of girl to tell you something that you don't want to know, right? Like men act hard, but women, the right woman can push our buttons and hurt our feelings if we're being vulnerable. So I kicked it with a guy she dated before. Literally. We were all so cool that at a point it was like, hey, you can come to the wedding. She was like, that's a little weird. You know what I mean? Like, so
okay.
And she's told me about other people before I walked in the room, like, hey, me and this guy used to like me. So if Keith was
trust,
so when Keith comes up, it's like, this is not, first of all, this is not, like, we should address that too, the whole not my type thing. She dated like Hispanics and people of other races. So at the time, I wasn't her type.
Hey, sis, do your thing, sis. Do your thing.
Yeah,
sis.
yeah.
Okay. I ain't about to judge you.
I just was the other type of girl at one point.
Yeah.
And that's what I meant by I wasn't attracted to him. Like, I'm attracted to my husband. But, you don't get the full context when we're talking on the show. I was saying that at that time of my life, I was checking for something totally different. And then when I met him, it was like, oh, okay.
No, I get you. I'm with you on that. And just sis, I won't even judge you.
Even though Daryl tangented off of his night with his best friend, right?
I need to ask questions about that.
No, I was saying because we have that trust, like that wasn't an issue.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, listen, it may be my insecurities. You know what I mean? So when I'm asking my question, it might be from an insecure place.
Like we secretly have an open relationship.
No.
No, it wasn't like that too.
My best friend is a lesbian, man. She was married to a woman. So, and even if she wasn't, like, I could see any one of my female best friends. I've actually saw the other one like changing clothes before. It's solely like platonic.
Now see, he's throwing it. Listen.
This was before a fee, man. But the point is, yeah, I keep it 100. I like to be transparent. But I'm sorry,
bro.
Look. In all honesty, though, I don't feel I can see that, and nothing can come from it because she's not an opportunity to me. It's okay.
You know what? That's what I mean by we. Like the people dragging me on the internet talking about how would she feel if this has been our situation. And I've been very comfortable because, again, not to sound, too cocky or full of myself, but I'm not going to be chasing behind a man if I can't trust him. Whatever you're going to do, you're going to do it anyway. So I'm not going to be like, oh, what is he doing? Racking my brain about it. It is what it is. So I have to trust you. If I can't trust you, we don't have anything. So, him sleeping at his best friend's house, that's fine. I trust my husband. And it's the same token for me. Like, I would never disrespect him, first of all, or myself. So
we got to give context. That was an emergency situation. I had to stay at her house. This is not like, hey, by the way, I've never stayed at her house. She just moved to Miami. She actually stayed in San Diego. We're in Dallas. My other friend lives in Louisiana, where I'm from. So I'm not around these people all the time.
Okay. So it was emergency. So you're saying it's an emergency. It was literally a do or die situation.
Yeah. I had to. I had to because I didn't have a phone. So I stopped off in Miami to get back to Dallas.
Okay, that makes sense. So it's not a regular thing. It's just it's a one-off thing that happened. Okay, I mean it's just a bit different because I was really looking at you sideways, Daryl, for a second.
Right.
Just just from my own insecurities, I was looking sideways. Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, no. Okay, I get it. Okay, cool. So you guys are saying you have to have trust. in a relationship, which I'm with you on 100%. You know, especially if you're gonna have opposite sex friends, they gotta have that level of trust as well. Okay. So then obviously, you know, maybe the show was making more of the situation than what we are seeing with the whole best friend situation. Do you feel like the show potentially may have added more spice to actually what we were seeing? Because sometimes that's what they be doing, and sometimes it's not as bad as we're seeing, and then actually they add more, like, you know, chemical X to the actual situation than it actually was.
You want me to answer, her to answer?
But you can both answer. You can take time. Daryl, you go first, then
Felicia. Okay, cool. In my opinion, they didn't, but they did. You know that it's reality. They want the drama. So the things that we learned, that y'all learned, it looks like it's been going on our entire relationship. We actually found out that day, right? So that's what I mean by yes, because I mean no, because they worked with what was in front of them, right? The other thing is, I would say it's like it's twofold, because we talked about prenups on the show. We talked about my daughter on the show. We talked about my relationship with my mother on the show. Talked about other finance, like it was other things, her relationship with her father. It was other things that we talked about that never was touched on. And we wanted to show like it could be cool to be, you know, married and a young Black couple and have fun, keep it sexy, but be authentic.
Okay. I love that.
So from my perspective, I think they gaslighted the Keith kiss, all that situation. I really wish you guys could have heard. I know a lot of people were like, well, she said it was 12 years ago and that, you know, whatever. And no one got to hear the full conversation at the table. And I was like, dang, you know, they tried to play me a little bit. So I was feeling away. But at the end of the day, you know, I put myself in that position, right? So I knew what was going to come with it. It's reality. So I can't be mad at people for having opinions about it. But I will say that I really wish the conversation would have played out. And hopefully we get to that so everybody can get a little clarity on the whole kiss situation. So I think they put a little sprinkle. But of course it was, you know, it was reality TV. Whatever was going on at the time was going on at the time. Nobody, you know, they can't make that up.
I mean, whilst you're there, we can actually talk about it since you've segued beautifully.
We gotta say something for our channel, man.
Y'all gotta give me that exclusive tea out here. You know what I'm saying? It's still hot, so let me grab it while it's there. Yeah. You know, obviously the kid situation was a big thing for the audience. I was reading the comments all the time on our own TV, and the kissing was a big thing. I think people weren't sure, because like even when me and Sean were talking, I was saying, we weren't quite sure, but we were saying, well, it sounds like she did, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. The way she's kind of positioned it, the way she kind of said it, it sounds like 12 years a slave. She did kiss him 12 years ago, and you know what I mean? So give us a bit more clarity. Was there a kiss? This is what we need to, first and foremost, was there a kiss?
Yes. So, but the kiss was on the cheek. And he says, oh, you remember when you came up to me at the party and you kind of kissed me? And I was like, on the cheek, bro? Like, for one, it's not a romantic kiss, so I'm not going to remember that. But Daryl knows, I know, all of my friends know. Like, my besties, I may run up to them, hug them, and kiss them on the side of the cheek. Like, that's how I greet my friends. I hug, I love on them. You know, I feel like life is way too short. So that's how I embrace the people that I love the most. So at this day party that Keith is referring to, first of all, I'm not even a PDA person with my husband, okay? So when he said, yeah, we kissed and we're all at the table, and I look at him and I was like, when did we kiss? And he was like, well, it was on the cheek. And everybody's like, bro, like if you could have heard the reaction in the room when everybody's like, so you're really, really hounding on a kiss on the cheek.
Yeah, they didn't show that. So what he said was, this is where it started at, right? In the confession with the mom and her sister, right? He says her mom asked him, like, yo, what are they talking about off camera, right? What are they talking about? They keep saying that there's more to the story. Like, what are they talking about? He was like, I promise you nothing happened, nothing took place. She even asked, like, was there a kiss? Was it like, did y'all do more than that? Like, what's going on? Because of the way the questions were coming at him, right? So he said no, right? He gets to the house in front of me, and well, he says on camera, he says it was a kiss, right?
Yeah, he just said that, yeah.
And then he says, oh, it was a kiss on the cheek. That was never shown though. So when they get to the house, her mom, if you go back and watch this, I told this to Sean, you watched it. If you go back and watch the episode, I'm grabbing the card from her mom. So with that dicey questions, the cards are colored. Keith's cards, I think, were blue. Her sister's was purple, and her mom's are yellow. So I'm grabbing it directly from her mom, right? The question is, hey, how did you feel when you found out they kissed? And I'm like, yo, that's news to me. I didn't know. You know what I mean? Like, so, but she's asking because he just lied to her. He said one thing off camera. He said another thing when the cameras came on. And here's another thing that I only suggested that Keith come to the show because we got into it at her birthday party, right? It wasn't about, I thought he was trying to pursue her or he had a secret love interest or anything like that. So I hadn't talked to Keith literally in 2 years into that show. So that it was like, so when he's like, why didn't you talk to me? The last time I saw him, he said, we ain't got to talk. And we know what that means as men. So if you want smoke, then we can handle it that way. You see what I'm saying? But it was never, he didn't want smoke. So we didn't talk again. And I'm like, bro, the last time I saw you, you said we ain't got to talk. So I left it at that. But I mean, we passed all of that. Now I'm just telling you in hindsight, this is what took place.
So with my reaction on the show, I was trying to process one. Like I was racking my brain, like, did I kiss him? Did I forget? Like somebody help me understand. So then when he comes out with that, and then he added context even more. I don't know if you guys saw that. It was like an exclusive clip. And we were outside and I was like, hey, get your truth out about, whatever the kiss is. Because for me, I would never have lied to him. If Keith and I had done something beyond, the kiss on the cheek he's talking about, I would have already put him on game. Because I'm never gonna let him walk into a room and be blindsided. So,
and not to cut you off, babe, but that's what I was talking about when I'm like, she's super honest with, especially situations like that. I had a kickback at my house when I first met her, right? And she was like, "Yo, who in here did you fuck? Like that? Tell me now." And I'm like, "Yo, I wouldn't have, somebody that I smashed around you, like, so you get cursed or not on it."
That's cool.
Yeah, so. She was like, is anybody you had sex with in here? And I'm like, man, there's no, I wouldn't even.
I was getting little side eyes. I don't know.
But make sure, sis. You know what I'm saying?
But it was cool to see going into the relationship. Like, oh, I'm glad if the shoe is ever on the other foot, I know you're gonna look out for me. So that was never a concern of mine, man, at all.
But as I was saying, like in the exclusive clip, I don't even know if they played this part. But Keith said that the kiss was like close to his lips. So I don't know if he like, how sometimes if you like someone and something happens that is like an intimate moment for that person, they make it bigger in their mind. Or I'm not saying that he did this. I'm just saying that that's the only thing I can assume. So when I told him, I was like, well, if I kiss you close to your mouth, like, did I kiss you dead on the lips? Like he could never get that out, and then we had a
we can save that for our
channel.
You're getting my lot right now. I'm sorry, B. I'm sorry.
Okay, so my point is.
Don't worry, I will let you say later on. Don't worry, I got you.
There's a recording. I'll tell you that there's a recording to this conversation, and he's backtracking.
So anyway, there to answer your question, yes, there was a kiss. The kiss was made to be something more, and it was never like exposed on the show, so it left people hanging. But of course, that was clickbait, so people went with what they wanted to go with, and I couldn't do anything but just say it is what it is until we speak out about it, right?
I'm hearing you. Okay, yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Obviously, Keith, he's been a bit of a moving mad situation. Just wait, just get mad. Just one more time again, Daryl. Why did we bring Keith again? What was the reason? Just so we get it. Yeah, I know you said it, but
so at her birthday. Are we freezing? Or are we breaking up or no?
Oh no, you're good.
You froze for a second. Okay. Anyway, so at her birthday party, make a long story short, he got into it with two other men's spouses, right? He got into it with the spouses of whatever. It was a DJ, and he got into it with her husband. It was my close friends. He got into it with his husband, her husband as well, right? And then going back to when he did the pretend grind or whatever on Fee. Is that to me, I'm a process-driven person. So when I see those are now infractions to me, those are red flags. And mind you, I'm putting out these fires because it's her birthday. And so the girl walks over to me like, "Yo, who is this guy?" Whatever. But her husband checked him. You see what I'm saying? So I'm learning about these things like as the night progressed. The guy, me and her father are having a conversation. He's squared up like he's about to fight the DJ's husband. It's like, bro, it's no consequences that you're the common denominator in all of these problems. So out of all the guys here, you're the one that's offending people's spouses. She got something else took place. We're not gonna mention, but her and my sister were talking. Keith walked up, and I was like, "Bro, not right now. You know, I'll talk to you later." Right? I'll talk to you later. Literally, is it verbatim what I said. I was like, "Not right now, Keith. I'll talk to you later." And he says, "We ain't gotta talk. We ain't gotta talk." Like putting his hands like this. I don't know if you can see my hands. Like we ain't gotta talk. And man, I always say it like this: in any dialect across the world, it's the same thing. Nonverbals mean a lot, and where I'm from, that means you should feel threatened because I want to do something extra. I don't want to talk. We don't have time to talk. It's time for action. So I said, okay, it's her party again. This is my lady, and mind you, this is the day after I proposed to her. So I'm not even on that wavelength. That frequency is not anywhere. I'm not even trying to check into that, right? So I leave, I clear my head, I walk down the street. I'm assuming he's walking outside behind me, but I'm trying to get away from the venue, right? And I haven't talked to him again until the show. So that was why I wanted to clear the air. I'm like, yo, you know what? I felt disrespected. She was in a whole nother vibe. So she didn't even feel like that was disrespectful. And other people since then have told her like, yo, that was disrespectful. He's calling him out. He's trying to call his hands out. And she's thinking like he just said he didn't have to talk. No, he's not, Sean said it this way. He was like, he's not trying to, take a phone call. Like, hold on 1 second. I'm trying to take a phone call. No, he's suggesting something else.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So you want to basically clear the air. So you thought it'd be a good idea, knock two birds, one stone kind of thing, bring them on the show, get that aired out. You know what I'm saying? It is a bit of a therapeutic show as well. So therapy can be done. Maybe hash out some of the reasons as to why certain events been surrounding.
Because it became an ongoing conversation with her and I, which is why y'all see her passion, right? So that before we were ever casted on Family or Fiance, or before when that situation occurred, I'm like, yo, that's disrespectful. If somebody did that to you, it's zero tolerance, and it's not a conversation that we're going to have, right? It is what it is, and she's like, no, I'm a very matter-of-fact guy, right? And sometimes when I talk, it's straight to the point, it's blunt. So she's strong-headed as well. So I'm an Aries, she's a Leo with fire signs. Call it what you want. We're both stubborn, whatever. The point is, she's taking it as I'm telling her what to do. Like she thinks I'm indirectly trying to, because of past relationships or whatever. She's thinking I'm telling her, yo, you can't be friends with him. Never ever uttered that to her. I just told her, listen, until he apologizes to our guests, he's not welcome at our wedding. So he was never invited to the wedding because of that, right? We got on the show and he exposed what he exposed. Oh, okay. Well, we're gonna have to resend that invitation, because I actually was going to. I invited him for like 2 weeks and said, you know what? Nah, man, we're gonna fall back on that.
Damn. Okay. This sounds like warning signs with Keith at the moment. All right. Cool. Okay. So all of that's happened on that situation. You guys are having conversations behind the scenes as well about Keith. You get onto the show. They're mentioning stuff about Keith as well. Okay. So back to you, Philisia. How does it get to a point where at one point it seemed like you were fiercely defending him? It looked like that. Again, it might be the editing more so than anything, but you were fiercely defending him, because he was saying, I mean, you're not my man, you're my man, so I have to go home with you. We at that point we were triggered. I'm not gonna lie to you, all the 5 bell alarms were going off my head. I mean, talk to me.
So I'm not going to lie. Like, if I am passionate about something, you have to give me all the facts before I change my position, right? And because my experience, like I can't tell Daryl his experience with Keith, right? It's his. He feels away. So for me, I was like, well, babe, he's never crossed any lines with me. Like the one time he danced behind me, we went, whatever. And that was that. I was like, so you want me to be so angry, and I haven't seen him do anything disrespectful in regards to me or you? Because some of the stuff that I found out on the show that he was doing to Daryl, I was finding out on the show.
Okay.
Because again, I was never a part of those conversations. He was calling Keith. Keith was calling Daryl to have conversations with him. So my communication with Keith had kind of just like shut off after that day party situation. So I wasn't talking to him again. I was passionate about it because I'm like, this is my friend. And mind you, the favors that Keith is talking about in the beginning of the show.
Oh, yeah.
So
Those favors.
before I knew Daryl, way before I knew Daryl, I remember I needed to pick up a table that I bought for my dining room, right? Now, Keith had a truck with like a bed. So I called him. I was like, hey, you know, are you free today? My family was in town. My mom and dad was in town. But they have an SUV that was enclosed, kind of like mine. So we couldn't pick up the table. So my dad says, oh, just call Keith to see if, you know, he'll grab it for you. Sure. That's what he did. I never asked Keith for favors when I had Daryl. There was no reason to call him and ask him to do any favors for me. So that when I realized that Keith was saying stuff like that, I was like, oh, this is what you mean. But still, you know, you guys don't see.
You got it with the trophies thing.
Oh, yeah. So I own a dance studio outside of my regular 9-to-5 job, and I needed some trophies moved. Daryl had to work. That was the one time. Let me take that back before people call me a liar. Keith went and got trophies for me. And Daryl, you know, they kind of had a conversation like, hey, yeah, I'll go after to finish picking up the rest of it. If you can go get them, you know, early in the day. Again, a conversation between two men doing something for, you know, me. But he was a mutual friend. So there was no side conversation, sidebar favors. Yeah, I never told him my personal business when it came to me and Daryl. I don't even tell my mom our personal business like that, unless it's something we're all collectively talking about.
What it was is, man, I have a sedan, he has a truck. She wanted him to move the trophies. Literally, the guy grabbed the trophies with another guy, put them outside the business, and they sat there until I came with a U-Haul with two of my coworkers. Put them in there, bro. I get walkie downstairs. They're in our storage right now. I put them in a U-Haul with two of my coworkers. It's like it was a relay. I'm not gonna be mad at you for helping my lady, bro. Like that's not even a. You see what I'm saying? Like I'm not even that guy.
But for me to fully answer your question, I was very passionate about it because I needed to understand why he had the position that he had. And I'm like, you're telling me that my friend that I've been friends with for years, even before I knew you, longer than I've known you, you're trying to convince me that I'm not going to say he's trying to convince me he was a bad person, but like all the things you were saying, I'm like, I've never seen that behavior from him because I wouldn't have even been okay with that. You know what I'm saying? So,
and for me, bro, it was the definition of insanity in real time, right? Like, and if me and her are going back and forth about this one topic, like, you know what? I'm gonna try a different approach. So the different approach is how y'all saw I approach it on television. You know what I'm saying?
Like that is not Daryl.
If I'm at 10 and she's at 10, it's not gonna work. So I'll let you be at 10 and I'll just expose it meticulously, and then we'll get to the meat of it.
I remember Daryl's mom said when she first met me, she was like, I was worried that you weren't gonna be able to handle my son because Daryl speaks very aggressively, and she thought I was very, very passive and was just like, okay, you know, whatever. So when she saw me getting back at him, I think she was surprised. But that it seems toxic and dysfunctional to other people. But I had to learn how to speak up a little bit with Daryl because
I clearly showed that I'm not always aggressive.
Yeah. Yeah, he did.
So that you don't run over, so it doesn't look you're running over. I understand that.
Yeah, man. I'm not about to. I don't care about. I live with her. You feel what I'm saying? Yeah. Like the peace is all I care about, bro. Like I don't care about. Oh, she wears the pants and he's running. He's so desperately in love with her. No, bro. But it's just I'm not about to argue with her on TV. That's not what I went to TV to do.
But I had to apologize to my husband because when I looked at it back, I was like, dang, you know, that came off real hard. However, people don't see the conversations in the hallway where Daryl's like, you know, and so by the time the cameras are at me, I'm on 1,000 because at this point, you are just pushing me and pushing me and pushing me. So yeah, I'm gonna go off. But he was just handling it better. It was like the hallway conversations, the outdoor conversations, and then he going crazy.
No, I get that. I mean, I actually get that. I mean, obviously, you got to give a little bit, you got to give a little bit back to be able to make sure that no one's getting run over. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's just so that people can understand there's a boundary there. So I never thought that was necessarily toxic or anything like that. I think it was just a case of, you had to kind of give a little bit to give a little bit. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
I get that.
But I respect him. I would never disrespect him. Like, I think people should know that. Like, I'm a Southern woman. I know that, you know, I want my man to lead. I want him to be the head of the household. I'm not trying to take that position at all. I mean, I contribute to our household, but ultimately I follow him. As long as he's praying first, I can follow him. So.
I hear that. No, I'm with that. You know what I'm saying? I'm hearing that. You know what I mean? So, I'm feeling more where you're coming from now. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Okay, so let me ask this question. So maybe we can give us a bit more insight as well into your mind as well, because as I said, you were obviously defending Keith. You've explained that a little bit more. How was your mindset in the sense of, you know, like for instance, where it felt like you weren't trusting his judgment. For instance, like this conversation keeps coming up. Yeah. And if we're not seeing that Keith is a problem from before we even get on the show, it seems like this has been a recurring talking point. And obviously he's explained, I'm sure he's probably, I'm guessing probably Daryl's explained their problem, maybe not in full detail, but they're not seeing eye to eye, him and Keith.
Yeah.
Why was it for you, maybe so you can give us a bit more of understanding from your perspective, that you didn't necessarily just take Daryl's side in this particular contest? Why did it seem for us, because for us it seemed like, you know what I mean, for us it seemed like you were more on Keith's side? Why did you not trust Daryl's judgment that he's seeing something and that he's calling something out that is potentially dangerous to the relationship? I want to kind of get your perspective.
So I'm going to be brutally honest, and I know that he's not going to like this answer, but it's the truth. It's my truth.
Okay.
So, let me say this. Trust is a big piece in a relationship, right? And sometimes I would feel that, not that Daryl would necessarily lie, but there were situations that kind of made me be like, you could have twisted that a little bit. And I need to know the full scope before I can just say, yes, that's 1,000% the truth, right? So while he was telling me those things on the show, because again, it's not every day Daryl was like, I told you Keith is doing this or Keith is doing that. And this is the truth. We have to be honest. If we're gonna,
that's cool. I'm
take ownership, we have to take ownership. Daryl has not always just told the clear-cut truth to me.
I get it.
So there was a trust factor there. I'm like, you don't like him, so now you're going to hide. Like, for example, when he said, "Oh, she's collateral damage," Daryl used those words, right?
But it wasn't necessarily.
But Keith didn't combat it. But you said the words. Keith didn't combat it. He didn't say those words. He just went with it, right? So when Daryl brought it to me at the table, he says, Keith said you were collateral damage.
No, I said he said he wanted to hurt me, and he didn't care about your feelings.
Nope,
that's what he said, and I defined that as you being an innocent bystander and collateral damage. And I asked him, do he agree? He said if he said yes.
Right, but do you see what I'm saying?
That's not.
Those words didn't come out of his mouth.
I'm sorry if I'm more articulate than others.
So to me, it's sometimes like sprinkling a little bit of, I'm going to add my own context to it. And I'm going to say, like, saying to me that Keith said I was collateral damage is a lie, in my opinion. He didn't say that. He didn't combat you when you said it. So those types of situations kind of make me a little.
And that's the problem. She's taking it too literal, right? I'm literally telling you, if the guy, hey, I need you to paint that wall black, right? And you say, yo, that's a dark wall over there. Hey, would you say this is a black wall or blue wall? Oh, it's black. He said it was black. I'm defining what he's saying. I'm a writer, bro. Analogies, metaphors, similes. This is how I think.
But I think Daryl also knew that would impact me the way that it did, because you guys didn't even get to see a long time at the table. I was unable to speak. Because I felt betrayed by Keith now. Because it's like, I've been defending your character even against somebody that, you know, is my husband or my fiance at the time. And if I'm defending you and you don't give a damn about me, and I am essentially collateral damage, because we're not debating that that's what the whole situation was, but those were not his words. So had he not used those words, it probably would have hit a little different.
But what he said before that was worse though. I've been around Keith less times than you. I've been around Keith maybe 3 times. So how can you be trying to purposely hurt me? And all I said was, so I'm defending my lady against somebody that's trying to hurt her fiance. That's nuts to me, right? I don't know exactly what I said, but that's what he said. I'm literally defining what he's saying. What he said before. Listen, I gave a word to what he said, right? What he actually said was worse than collateral damage, in my opinion. You being an innocent bystander is worse than that's like me trying to hurt your best friend just to get you know what? I don't care how this is going to impact my wife. I'm gonna pick at her.
Yeah,
I've only been around her 4 times. You see what I'm saying?
I'm not debating you about that. I'm just saying that's wicked. I'm just saying that the words at that time or the way that things were portrayed to me, I think Daryl knew that it would impact me the way that it did, and maybe I needed that. Maybe I needed the eye opener.
We disagree on that, bro. I don't think I put words in his mouth or I manipulated it. You can't manipulate the truth. It is what it is. That's what he said. I defined it as.
No, he didn't say it.
Well, let me ask you. How did you perceive that when we talk one-on-one, Keith and I? Did I put words in his mouth, or did I define what he said?
You did define what he said. I'm not gonna lie to you. He did define what he said, because if I'm willing to get at you at the expense of someone else, then you are collateral damage. Now, what you're arguing here, Philisia, is that did he say those words definitively? I don't think he said down. I don't think he said it exactly that. So I kind of get what you're saying in that respect, but
I'm not even debating that part, because I agree with Daryl with what he's saying. I'm saying that there has been instances where the trust is a little shaky because of similar situations.
She takes it literal, bro.
And I am a literal person. But Daryl, have you ever lied to me about things?
Yeah, of course.
Right. So then when I question his truth or his statements, then I have a reason to do that. Not to throw my husband under the bus, but let's just keep it 100. I want you to be 100% honest with me. Don't.
But that's not. I feel like that's something that you should know that I wouldn't lie about. I respect.
I don't know. There's a lot of things I thought you would lie about.
Oh Jesus, get out of here! Come on.
She be trying to stir you up, bro. Don't let her get you, bro. Don't let her get you, bro.
You have a lot.
I don't know. Everybody has white lies.
But all I'm saying is, I wouldn't. That's not something. I feel like because she's defensive, that's where her mind went to. Let me defend it. Not that he's lying. She didn't want to see him in that capacity. That's more what it was. She didn't want to believe that's what the truth was, because she only seen him how she saw him.
And if you know anything about Leos, we are very loyal people. So if I've been Zodiac, no, I'm just saying. But if I have been loyal to you, and again, I'm defending your character, not just against my husband, but anyone who has had an interaction with you. I'm like, well, I've never seen that of him, so I can't go speak and say, oh, Keith is this type of person, because he's never been that type of person in my experience with him. So it was very hard for me to see that. And when I started to see some things that didn't align with who I knew he was, that offended me. That pissed me off, because now I look stupid. If forget him, now I look stupid for defending you.
Which I told her. I told her going in, I was like, babe, if this is the narrative that they're about to run with, this is not going to work out. This is not going to show you in a favorable light. And kudos to her, because she faced it and she kept rocking with it. She could have pulled away at any time, but it is what it is. The truth is the truth. And she wasn't. Me personally, I think she never was going to see him like that because of how it was coming at her. When she say I was hot-headed, or it's a matter of fact, I was telling her that. I was giving her ultimatums. I was telling her yo, you're not listening to me.
I didn't see that.
And it wasn't a nice way either. You feel what I'm saying? So I damn near positioned her to be in with her.
Make it hard. You made it hard. Made it harder job. I understand. Okay. So for me, obviously, you know me, I like to go a little bit deeper in it. So because what I'm hearing, obviously, you're defending your friend, okay, and I know you said obviously Keith might have said some things in the past, which you were a little bit, but is that where the mistrust has started, though, for you, though, Philisia? Is that where the mistrust has started, or is this coming from somewhere in the past? Because as much as I know that he might have, as you've admitted, might have said one or two You know what I'm saying? The way you were defending it though seems like it was intense, and that almost feels like it was before that point, like before even that was was even in a picture. So has trust been a difficult thing for you in the past? I think that's what I'm trying to get at.
Oh, absolutely. You damn near have to, like, I don't even know how to explain trust with me. If it's one little thing that I trip you up on, like I'm like, oh, you said that you went here at 5:15, and I'm not like this. I'm just giving an example.
She's like
before.
That.
No, I'm not.
She believes if I don't help her with the groceries, I don't want to be in a relationship.
Oh yeah, if you don't help me with the groceries, bringing them in the house, you don't want to be with me. Like, you do not want to be with me. That's fair. That's right, any woman's gonna feel like that.
Groceries
but anyway, to my point.
No, they don't.
Listen, if I go to the grocery store, I get all the groceries. I'm down every aisle, picking up the sweets you want, picking up all the meals you want me to make. The least you could do when I get home is get the groceries out the car, or else you don't want to be with me. I'm sure of it. Anyway, it's a joke. It's a joke. So my point is, if you tell me something and I find out that what you told me was not the truth, because I pride myself on being completely honest as much as I can. Every human being has told a lie before.
Of course.
But like direct lies for no apparent reason, to me, is just like the dumbest thing in this absolute world, right? So if I ask you something and I find out it was a lie, my trust for you now, it dwindles, and it continues to do that. And in every situation that I've had with a man, it's been very deep, to where I'm just like, you didn't even have to lie. Like, you could just say, hey, I'm not feeling this relationship no more, or hey, I didn't know how to approach you about this. Like, to me, it's not that deep. Just be an adult and say, hey, this is what it is. So yeah, trust is very hard for me, stemming from dad on down. To be honest,
and we got to speak to your dad's situation. But I will say, man, when I first got with her, she was like, "Oh, there's no way. Like, I'm divorced, right?" So I had to show her a divorce decree, and I'm like, "Look, I'm not about to prove myself to you."
I mean, I ain't gonna lie to you. Well, you gotta show that divorce decree,
huh?
You gotta show the divorce decree. Yeah, there's too many goons out here that will tell you their divorce and not be divorced. I ain't gonna lie to you. That one I have to agree with, bro. There's too many.
I wasn't mad at that, but it was other little instances where I was always having to prove it. I'm like, yo, you think I'm about to do this for the rest of my life? Like,
you know why?
Hey, hold on. And so we fast forward. I'm in between. Like, yo, is she trying to control me, manipulate me, or is that who she is? We go to counseling. Premarital counseling, and I find out like my number one thing when I feel love is respect. Hers is trust, and it's two different things, which I learned. Trust is different from respect, and I'm thinking like they're a cousin to each other. They're the same thing, totally two different things. So if I feel disrespected, it impacts her the same way as distrust. I had to respect that and give her grace, and she's granted me grace in other areas. So.
Okay. I'm hearing that. I appreciate you guys sharing that. So obviously we were following that line of train of thought. You said obviously we didn't get to see it as much. We heard it mentioned. We saw a point of vulnerability from yourself as well. In that scene with you and Daryl with Dr. Tracy. And it came out that obviously, situation with your father, and that played a big part on a big part in your life and how you see things. So I mean, I don't want you to have to put anything on blast, but I think it'd be good to get a bit more understanding of that in terms of, so that we understand a bit more your perspective and where you're coming from and the mindset as well.
Man,
so I am not the type of woman that uses excuses for my behavior, for my anything, right? So it was not the intent that I would throw my dad under the bus as to why I was supporting Keith the way that I was, right? My point in bringing that up, I was asked a direct question. Like, what are some of the reasons why you have trust issues?
Yeah.
And I brought up like, hey, now don't get me wrong, my dad is not a deadbeat. I knew who my dad was, but my dad traveled overseas. He was a special agent.
Makes sense.
So I didn't grow up in the household with him. And, I don't think I realized how much that impacted me until my adult life. We just didn't have that relationship. And what's crazy is we are a lot alike. My dad and I, even though I didn't grow up with him in the household, we are a lot alike. And I think in the beginning, that's how we clashed so much, because a lot of things were just alike. But I think I felt resentment towards him because I thought he chose his career over me, and he decided, oh, I'm gonna go do this while, you know, you're back at home or whatever. And I think one part that you guys missed is that my mom even apologized for her part. She felt like, you know, I could have done more to let you guys have a better relationship. And she was like, I truly apologize for that. And so that was a moment that everybody missed. And I really wish that people would have been able to hear how deep that conversation was. I wasn't throwing my dad under the bus at all. Do I think he could have done things better as the father? Yes. You know, I was a child in that position. So both parents, I think, had responsibility in not making sure that we cultivated that relationship. But I think that some people can't own certain truths. And when I spoke to that, I'm just going to be real, my dad was very upset about it. And instead of facing it, and instead of just saying, you know, it is what it is, it happened, we have a great relationship now, let's just face it and move on. That didn't happen.
It's painful.
Yeah. So, you know, I think a lot of my mindset stemmed from a lot of that stuff. Not just my dad, though, but past relationships. I was in an abusive relationship before Daryl. And I remember we were like playing on the bed one day, and I think he grabbed my ankles.
Give context.
You know, Daryl was grabbing my ankles or something. We were playing.
Oh, I got that. Don't worry, you're good.
Pulled me, right? And I think I completely blacked out because it reminded me of a situation where that boyfriend was essentially raping me. And, you know, it's not his fault, but those are things that happened to me that only really he knows, and now I guess the world, but I didn't disclose that stuff. People don't know that. I don't even think my dad knows that, because I would expect that the men in my life would be very upset about it and wanting to do something about it. But these are things that I'm dealing with, and you don't know that you have trauma until something triggers that. You don't know that. And so when Daryl is learning me, well, at the time that he was learning me, he was learning on the fly. And I was also, you know, really trying to deal with it on the fly. I hadn't spoke those things until we went to premarital counseling, because I didn't know what it was. I didn't know that it was defined as rape if you say no to a boyfriend. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not stupid. I'm very intelligent, but it just doesn't register to you in that way. I'm not a victim, or like I try to tell myself, like, I'm not a victim to this, so I'm not going to put myself in a victim category. But I was a victim.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. You know, I appreciate you sharing that as well, because I do a lot of work on, people see on this channel as well, we talk about sexual violence. We talk about consent on here. We talk about a lot of those traumas that people go through, especially young Black women, that they go through before they get to adulthood. And so a lot of people are meeting young women at an adult age, but they're dealing with people who've got guards up, walls up, have got you know, trauma that they don't even, like you said, they don't even realize they're carrying, and it begins to inform their decision making and how they move. And I think it was a very real aspect that you gave, an example about how in relationships, even when you said obviously due to a play fighting, innocently play fighting, how that can trigger something in you and you not realize. And how as when you're in a relationship, this is one of those things where it's a scary moment, but it requires both parties to be kind of vulnerable after that, because now something has happened that, you know, neither party was trying to do anything. It's just us just playing around and not realizing, and then boom, this kicks off. And so I really do appreciate you sharing that piece of your life, and that's deep. And it gives us a bit more of a better understanding in terms of where you're coming from as well. So yeah, I appreciate you sharing that, honestly. It's
and I want to add one more thing.
Please.
So my mom raised me to kind of be very strong, not reliant on anyone. So I think that it's a huge adjustment for me to be a wife. And I say that because like I've never lived with another man or another person besides like a female roommate, right? And that was only once. That was dead after that. So learning to, I hate the word submissive, but learning to compromise and learning to not feel like I always have to defend or be in a strong position is something I'm still learning to this day. So, you guys see me in a light of I'm just like, go, 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 go. But I'm used to having to defend myself. I'm used to having to do things on my own. And now I need to realize that, I have a partner to do that part. You
should have realized that before marriage left.
Yeah, you should. That's true.
No, I'm just picking at her, man. That's the type of conversations we have. But the fact that she's always honest with me is one of the reasons I love her. She lets me know what her struggles are. I let her know what mine are, and we're going to heal past it. We're going to grow past healing, I like to say.
Let me ask a question. So obviously, Daryl, you've been there supporting, man to man, obviously, fam. I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. That's a tough situation to be put into. Like, I know she's gone through a lot. Don't get twisted. I know it's a lot. And I think and let me just give some context to the audience as well, because we talk about this stuff a lot as well, which is that as a man as well, sometimes your natural instinct can be to be very protective, but at the same time, you're getting stabbed. Do you understand? So although you're protecting her and you're wanting to care for her because you can see that there's vulnerability, you're showing that area of vulnerability, you're also getting stabbed too. So I want to kind of get your perspective as a male, having to, as you say, protect and try and show that empathy and care. How were you able to stick it out? How were you able to continue that journey? Because, sometimes it's not easy. If you're getting stabbed and things are happening, and I say stabbed, I keep saying stabbed like it's doing it, not literally stabbed, guys. But if you're emotionally, going through things with the other party, how do you stay strong and be able to continue that journey? How are you able to continue that journey in a sense?
It's so many ways I can answer that. One, I was married before, right? So because I was divorced and I've been through that, my maturation is a little different from hers. I'm 36, she's 31. In that relationship, I did a lot of things wrong. So I walked into this relationship knowing that I wanted to be with her and I wanted to marry her, that I was going to be more patient and I don't know anything. Be a sponge, right? Learn. I call it karma. You know what I mean? Like it's so many different things. I process it as, I don't look at it like I'm being stabbed. I'm a father. So I have to be patient to my daughter. I have to be patient as a man, because to be stable in all your ways requires patience, right? So if my most comfortable emotion is anger my whole life and I'm blinded by anger, I have to do something different to be an antidote to that. You know what I mean? Like, and in my spirit, man, like the cool thing about us is with what I'm able to see in a relationship, you guys are not, right? I get to see her softer side. I get to see her vulnerable. I get to see, her at her, I don't want to say weakest moments, because she wants to be so strong, but she is weak. It's a balance to every person. And in her low lights, I'm there. In her highlights, I'm there, and indifferent. So the stabs are almost like, I once texted her, like in the beginning of our relationship, like, I'll wear your insecurities. That's my job as a man, right? God places us on the mantle to keep our family at peace and move it forward, not to be distorted or distracted by, insignificant things that are for a moment in time. So I welcome the stabs, man. Like, no to me is a delayed yes. What you would call stabs. I don't want to put that in my mouth.
Yeah, I know you mean. I know you mean. Yeah, we're on the same path. Don't worry, we're on the same path.
You can't, but honestly, you can't grow unless there's pain involved. But to be honest with you, at times, like sometimes it could be hurtful, but then you got to say, yo, where did I hurt her at? So it's a give and take. At it one time, one day, she's not at her best. The other day, I'm not at my best. So she has to deal with me hurting her, or hurting her feelings, I should say, in some capacity.
I love that, man. I love that. Yeah. Now, obviously, Daryl, you said, obviously, I saw you in Sean's live. You spoke about the fact that you had, got a good nudge to go and try and heal the relationships with, your family on your side of things as well. I want to kind of get a little bit more perspective on that, because obviously, we spoke to, we've analyzed Philisia's dad, and brought that little part in there and that vulnerability. I want to get a little bit of understanding from your perspective as well, because like I said, you had that relationship with your mother as well. How, because you said obviously your mother had also seen your daughter for 3 years.
Yeah,
How
man.
did the relationship get to that point? How did a relationship between yourself and your mother get to that point, without obviously putting on blast? But how did the relationship get to that point?
I guarantee you I'm answer this, but you're good at this, by the way, bro. You're really good at this, man. Hey, this is a perfect segue, dude. Let me tell you, like, honestly, it takes me back to the question before this, because that when I told y'all about her softer side, right?
Yeah.
It was her that said, you know what? I'm family oriented, and you need to be more family oriented. I was distant from my family. My family is everywhere, and it's common. Like, my mom is in a different part of the country. My sisters are in different parts of the country. My closest sister stays like an hour and 30 minutes away from me. We all have a great relationship. It's just that distance has caused disconnect as well, right? So that's partially the reason my mom is not in my daughter's life. What we were upset about, when I say we talked about it on the show, was my mom would say she's coming and she doesn't show up. And she does that for my sisters. That she does that to a lot of people in our family, right? And no matter what it is, like, if she was more transparent, then we could figure it out together.
Yeah.
That's what the conversation was on the show. She said that she would do that, and I can only pray that we're working towards that right now in this moment.
That as well, that inconsistency is always a painful situation in any relationship with a parent. It creates so much damage for an individual child, because this inconsistency means that also you start to think other people are going to be inconsistent, creates super independence. How do you think it's shown up for you then in your adult life things? I know, we're kind of, as we're speaking about, how's that kind of shown up for you?
Yeah, man. And just to touch on she didn't see my daughter for 3 years. I feel like that's just like I said with her, like, I welcome the stabs, right? Like, I give my mom grace in that situation, but I was mostly upset a lot of the time, because it's like, it's not even about me anymore. This is your granddaughter. So my daughter, like, she knows my mom now, but at the time she didn't know who she was at all. She was literally a stranger. My ex-wife at one point was more comfortable with her mother watching my daughter than my own mom, which is our biological grandmother. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, it's everybody has their own issues, man. And I got an analogy from one of my mentors one time. Like, if there's a cup of water, right? And what my mom in this scenario, hypothetically, is able to give, if she can only fill that up halfway, I can't fault her, because that's all she's able to give.
Yeah.
I can't look at that like everybody else would overflow this cup, or they would fill it up, or no, that's who she is, and I can't fault her for that. I got to take what that is, and it's my job now as a child to make the situation better.
I'm hearing you. Okay. I mean, since you're on that track, I heard you also spoke about therapy as well, and you I think both of you had gone for marital counseling and stuff like that as well. How important would you say, if you could explain to us, how important is therapy to the journey of healing for you two specifically? Like, I know if other people might be different, but for you two specifically, how has therapy been, let's say, instrumental in helping you guys on that healing journey?
That's a good question, man. You want to go, or I feel like I'm talking a lot, but for me, it let me know. I think I said this earlier. I alluded to it, that it let me know she was who I was seeing. Right. My mom once asked me, what made you want to marry my daughter? And I said, well, I looked at all the red flags. Like I looked for things that wouldn't make her a wife. So I never saw things that wouldn't make her a wife. Is why I married her. Coming off a divorce, I'm spinning the block with marriage, so to speak. That's what we say in the States, right? I'm coming back around. This is my final lap or whatever. I want to make sure I see things that I didn't see early on. And if it's something that I can work with, I can work with it. You know what you can deal with and what you can't. So going through counseling allowed me to see like, okay, this is a simple miscommunication, or this is a time where I need to fall back, or we don't need to give ultimatums to each other, or, at times where I'm thinking like, you know what, Fee is strong-headed in this situation. She honestly was just looking for me to take the lead, but I'm trying to avoid conflict. Like it helped with our dynamic. And that's one of the things I learned. Like if I'm gonna go into counseling, don't look at the other person, look at yourself. And I'm gonna be honest with you, going into counseling with her in premarital counseling, because I'm older and because I went through it, I was looking at like, oh, I hope she fixed this, I hope she fixed that, and I wasn't focusing on my path. And when that was brought out, it made things better between her and I.
I love that. Yeah.
So therapy for me is still something that's like very important. If I hadn't sat down with a therapist and addressed some of the things that I deal with internally, I think I would still be immature in some ways, right? I remember telling my mom, I was like, oh, this is before I met Daryl, but I was already praying for my husband. But the person I was praying for at the time, I didn't know that wasn't the one. Anyway, I remember telling her,
it gets like that.
Hey, I'm making sure my credit is good. I'm making sure my finances are good, because I don't want to walk into a marriage with a whole bunch of baggage, right?
Of course.
But the part that I missed at that time was going to therapy to deal with trauma. But again, remember, like I said earlier, I didn't know that the trauma that I had internally was my trauma, so to speak.
Okay.
If you've ever dealt with a real Southern mom, they tell you to pray about it, and that's that.
That's it.
Right. Yeah. Oh, that's a good point.
A real and no offense to my mom. I love her. That's my girl. But I've told her before, I was like, Mom, yes, our faith is very important. And yes, prayer is a part of it.
You need that other part.
But we also have a little bit more work that we have to do.
Absolutely, I believe that.
Through it, right? And so therapy is the work part for me. I'm able to fully address, these are the things that you deal with, Philisia. These are the things that you don't do great. These are the things that you do very well. And I think in order for me to be a good wife to him, a good bonus mom to Micah, a good daughter, a good business owner, whatever, what have you, in every aspect of life, for me to be great at that, I have to deal with a lot of things. So, I'm still dealing with those things. I'm still learning. I'm still growing. I'm still, having setbacks. But I'm actively trying to be better. So I think that any couple that wants to be married or, are thinking about getting married, therapy is the number one thing. And for me, I walked into therapy like, oh, I'm taking all my clothes off. Like, I want to be completely naked in here. I'm not going to leave anything out. And I have to learn that everybody doesn't take that approach.
Yeah, and it's tough, isn't it?
It's very tough.
And I forgot to tell you, we went to therapy like our second month in a relationship.
Before
because that's how important we view it. Like I was like, yo, we got to go to therapy just because things are amazing right now, and we need to figure out, when things don't get amazing, how we gonna navigate it. Yeah. But we stopped that, and then we went to therapy 3 times if you count the show. We've been to therapy, and consistently we're still going
3
to therapy.
times more than most people, bro. I'll be honest with you. 3 times more than most people.
Well, no, I don't mean 3 actual times. I mean, like 3 different,
like 3 separate times. Yeah, periods of time. Yeah, that's cool. And even if it was only 3 times, it'd still be more than 3 times most people like. Do you know what I mean?
That's true.
And that's why I'm stressing on that, because that's probably one of our favorite words on this channel, which is therapy. Somebody get some therapy, right? Because it's so difficult being in a relationship in 2021, because there are so many things that are affecting people, mental health, we've got situations with families, and listen, family's never easy, you know what I mean? Like, so there's so many different variables that come along with someone, how and why they act the way they act, and then you're trying to merge 2 people becoming one, as the Bible says. Trying to put 2 people with 2 different mindsets into one is already a difficult situation without having the baggage that we all carry, and some of us carry more than others, and trying to put them together. So therapy is one of those key words, and I love the fact that you guys have done that on 3 separate different time periods, because that shows that you guys are dedicated to putting the work in. You know what I mean? And I really do appreciate that. And honestly, and it's good spokesmanship, because Black people need to hear this, okay? Because some Black people be saying Jesus, 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 and I'm for Jesus,
right?
But
me too.
But we need some work.
Gotta do the work too. That's the part.
Facts.
Okay, so my final few questions then. So if my final.
That was fine. He said. Maybe I'll get out of here and come back. Let's see
what the went. Oh, there we go. Sorry, apologies. My system went a little bit funky there. Okay, cool. My final few questions. Since the show, what would you say that you both have learned about one another? What is just one thing that you guys have learned about one another since the show? What is one thing you've learned about one another?
About Philisia, I learned, it's sad, man, but honestly, it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. I'm saying it's sad that I learned it on the show, but I learned to listen to her more than I do. I'm a very talkative person, and I think active listening is a gift, right? It's what this honestly is my livelihood. This is a part of what I do for a living: listen to other people and make decisions, right? So, not doing it in my relationship could hinder things. And had I listened to what she was saying earlier, like with different situations, especially Keith, right? I would have been able to uncover it. It's just that I couldn't receive it at that time. So God saw fit that the appointed time was on television. And that's when I learned.
I love that. Yeah. Philisia, talk to me.
So I know that everyone saw on the show that I was adamant about Daryl's family relationship and us being close and all that stuff, right? So I learned that Daryl didn't need me to protect him. He didn't need me to try to force something that really doesn't have anything to do with me. You know what I mean? And I'm saying that because if someone is close to me and they disclose something that may have hurt them or may bother them, it's not my place to make it my problem. And I have an issue with that. And Daryl is not the type of person that needs me to stand in the gap for him. He doesn't need me to do any of that. He can kind of handle himself in that regard. So I've learned to kind of just, he doesn't need me to be his mom. He has a mom. He doesn't need me to do anything extra besides be his wife. So I'm learning to do that a little bit more.
I love that.
Yes, that's what I was telling you earlier. She was telling me like, yo, you should have a better relationship with your family, and you should do this, and you should go visit more, and we can invite them here. And I was always like, I kind of stay to myself, and that's why I was saying,
I said, I'm with you, bro. I hear you, man.
And we were in a group chat with our friends, man, one time, and they were like, yo, has the pandemic taught you, right? That was a buzz question, and I said to be a better son to my parents, and So I started making steps towards that, man. But I'm not gonna lie, it's challenging, but we getting there. And I said, and if I want her to be a better daughter, you know, as a leader, I have to be a better son.
I love that. I love that. You know, it's really interesting. It's one thing I noticed, Philisia, that you said, and it made me think of something. A phrase that someone says is, "Those who have not been protected are the most protective." Meaning that those who feel like they weren't protected often are the ones that are the most tigerish when it comes to protection, right? Because they know how it feels not to be protected. They protect things with their life. And when you was just talking, it just kind of reminded me of that quote, and I was like, "Oh, okay, I see."
Wow.
And I have that absolute problem with everything. If my sister were to call me and say someone made her mad, I'm like, tiger. It is over with.
But it's the reverse, though. If her sister protects her, she's mad that her sister protects her.
Yeah, it's true.
Wait, what's it? I'm sorry.
But the same thing with Daryl, the same thing with my mom, and I have to stop doing that. But I feel like I just want to make sure.
What's the quote again?
Those who haven't been protected, or they feel they haven't been protected, are the most protective. Yeah.
I can also be perceived why she's defensive when she shouldn't be.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's the same with Keith. I felt like
that's what I'm saying.
He was being attacked, and
that's what I was saying. That's why now I get where the Keith energy came from. That comes from the Art of Code Your Dark One party. So give me my coins, guys. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Run me my coins. Run me my coins, guys. Okay. No, it's from observation. So yeah, it's something that I've observed about people that are protective, and no, it's because Philisia, sorry, you remind me of someone so much that protective energy. It's like when people haven't been, I've noticed people who haven't been protected, their natural instinct is to protect those around them, you know, because it's actually an area of power and control. Because wherever you've lost control or power, you tend to try and pick it up elsewhere. So if you're protecting, it's actually you trying to make sure you control their environment that you're in, so that whatever happened in the past can't happen again. So it's just like that's what the body does to kind of make sure it resets things, you know. So I saw that.
That is crazy. Because that's 100%
that's a great observation.
Now I feel like this conversation at this very moment was worthwhile.
Yeah.
Thank you. Grace is looking up there.
It was worthwhile.
Okay, sure. I appreciate it. So no, do you know what? Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming on here. And I want to tell you something, both, that I actually appreciate your candidness, because I think what is needed in this generation is couples who are candid, because sometimes what can happen is people can put on this really sexy, velvety, we are amazing couple, right? And then fam, you find out they're the worst couple ever. It's like, and it's sad, right? But rather, like, we all got problems. And sometimes when the way you guys have actually reasoned together on here and actually exchanged communication has actually been quite inspiring. Because you're both quite truthful, which honestly is a beautiful thing to see.
Yeah, that's what people tell us. Like we tell each other too much.
Yeah,
they literally.
I love it. I wish we were all like that. We need truth. It sometimes that too much of that softness that's where relationships are dying. Honestly, I like that truth.
I don't regret it, but I regret it because what she could feel when I'm holding back now. Like so that I'm lying about superficial
I know you saw my side eyes a couple times, and I was like,
listen, he knows like I don't know, bro.
But can I tell you something?
Yes, please.
I think this is like the best interview we could have done, because when we first met each other, in the first month that we met each other, one thing we said was, we want to be able to be transparent so that people can see
and be inspired.
Black love. Yep. They can see Black truth. They could see faith, like our faith, all that stuff we wanted to put out on the table. So a lot of people say, why would you go on a reality show? Why would you do this? Blah, blah, blah. And the thing is, everybody was talking about it. So regardless of how it was portrayed to everyone else, it was talked about. So that brought people to really say, okay, well, let me learn more. Now I want to know more. Did they kiss? Did they not? Whatever. So essentially it did exactly what we wanted it to do. We wanted to be able to be transparent. We wanted people to see it's not lovey-dovey every day when you are married to somebody. And if you're going to have an authentic marriage and a successful marriage, you're going to have the times that we have with tough conversations, weird, I don't know, just a lot of things that you would normally not see people put out there because everybody wants to be this perfect power couple. But it's not reality. To be a power couple, you're going to have to be 100% honest with each other. I think everything that you have like identified within us is everything that we wanted the world to know about us. So we're honest with each other. Our friends told us at one point, y'all are sharing way too much. Sorry, this works for us.
I love that. Yeah. Honestly, I appreciate it, to be honest. You know what I mean? And I've actually learned a lot. There's a lot of things I'm actually going to take into it going forward. You know what I mean? In terms of being a bit more honest and a bit more frank, in terms of, being able to, as well, to be able to receive it too. You know what I mean? Because it's not just about giving, it's about able to receive it. You know what I mean? That's where we all probably have a bit more struggles. But honestly, I appreciate the fact that you guys have been able to have that transparency with us, and it's given us more of a love for you. And I always say, you can't, without that vulnerability, it's hard to be empathetic towards people's struggle and what they've gone through. So I appreciate the fact that you both have shared your true story on here. And you know what, after get you guys come back on, when you start your channel, let me know, I'll support and that. We'll bring
we would definitely love to be on one of your panels, man. We got.
Oh, you ready? You ready? Okay. You see, this is how we do it. You know what I mean? This is what I like to see. Yeah.
Reciprocity, man.
That's it, man. That's it. I'm ready for it. So don't worry. We'll talk about that so we can get that happening as well. Go for it, fam.
Where exactly are you, by the way?
I'm in UK, so I'm in Birmingham.
Oh, nice.
I know. Nice. Yeah. I'm deep.
Yeah. What time is it now? 5?
Nah, 3:30.
3:30. Oh, we've only been on here.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, you're good. It's only 3:30 in the morning. We're usually up here till like 5, 6. I'm usually up here to 5, 6, 7, 8 in the morning with these guys. So
okay.
This is normal. This is normal stuff, man. We normally do the whole night. So this is normal stuff. Okay, cool. You're good.
Yeah, man. So that just to echo, man, we wanted to shed light and be transparent, but we've got positive feedback, negative, indifferent. But we're having fun with it. We laugh at the comments. I don't read the comments. She tells them to me. Somebody or my friends will bring them my way. But you know what? I was having a conversation with her sister one day, and I was like, okay, she sent me a comment, and I went to the profile, and I'm like, bro, this person doesn't have a profile pic, 0 followers, 0 posts. They're not following anybody.
Keyboard warrior.
I'm arguing with, who is this? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not putting energy into that. And y'all shouldn't even be affected by that. Like the person that has the I guess the temerity to go and say, you know what, let me go, I have something to say, this is bothering me that much, I need to say something, ill-fated, I would say, like something that's just negative for no reason. Negativity drives the internet, and we knew, like, I say all that to say we knew what we were signing up for. We're gonna have our subscribers help us pick a honeymoon. We got married in Cabo. Our wedding went viral. We were blessed to be on Family of Fiance that dropped after the wedding. So that's our prayers were answered, man.
And there are still things that we are holding back for our video post.
Exactly.
So you guys need to subscribe to us immediately.
Daryl, what's the channel? What's the channel called?
Daryl and Philisia.
Daryl and Philisia.
Okay.
Daryl, one of them.
Yeah, man. We started a month ago. We had 400 subscribers. No content, so we're trying to work.
Nothing is on there, but it's coming. I promise you. And the things that wasn't answered here will be answered.
Okay, we like that. Okay, so audience members, you heard that, right? They got their channel going, Daryl and Philisia. Listen, please make sure you guys support them. Make sure you jump on, make sure you subscribe, and give them the love that you guys give me, man. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, we want that same love for you guys.
We appreciate that. Thank you, man.
No.
I thought you were gonna be harder on her, man.
Do you know what? I was gonna, bro. I had the bullets ready, the lines were there, but then I was like, I don't know. She started talking. I said, "Oh no, listen." I started feeling bad, bro.
As much as people have drug me in the comments, I'm sure I can handle a little bullets.
Give us a question that you held back on. I want to hear.
Huh?
Give us a question.
Michael, less of questions. It would have been more of the observations that.
Okay.
Would have been more of the observations in terms of it would have been around the key thing. We can talk about it after, but it was like around the key thing because I some things weren't for me. You know what I mean?
Did Sean tell you what I told him? I was. Did he tell you?
I think he told me a part of it.
Yeah. So I was watching y'all, and I was like, so my friend sent it to me, right? And then I went try to subscribe to our page from my other YouTube, right? And I saw y'all, and I was like, yo, there's two guys doing a review, and she was like, yo, I don't want to hear anything about the show. and I'm like, yo, this shit is dope. They really like they're intellectual, they're articulate, like. This is you can tell they read and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like this is my type of conversation. So and you said, bro, he didn't insinuate it. That's a flat out statement. But you posed it as a question, and you said not right there. You didn't say he was poltering, but you said I think you said she was poltering, right? No, you didn't say that. You said that about Keith saying something else early on, but you said that he flat out made a statement. He didn't insinuate, but in that moment. She's talking about, yo, you said it was a kiss. Now it's a real kiss. It's a kiss on the cheek. Which is it? And that's the exact same thing I said on the show, but they didn't show that. So when I'm saying I will never, ever respect you and you play those type of games, he literally said it was a kiss on the cheek. It wasn't a real kiss. It was a kiss on the cheek.
Let's be clear. He went back and forth between it was on the lips, it was a real kiss, it was on the cheek, it was all kinds. It was everywhere.
I'm talking about.
My mind is blown by him, though. My mind is blown by him because, I don't know how you can like that. That's got ill intent behind it, brother. I'm just gonna be honest with you. You can't come on a show, and then do what he did and not say there's ill intent behind it because you got one job and one job only.
You know how we found out it was really ill intent. Like I told you, I was in therapy mode, so everything was kumbaya, hakuna matata, right? and I'm thinking like. You know what? Maybe I'm wrong about this guy. Maybe he was forced into saying this, or somebody put a battery in his back.
Yes,
they literally stopped the show and said, "Bro, nobody gives a damn about the kiss. It's insignificant to her. He doesn't care. It was 12 years before him. If it even happened, like she can't even remember the shit. Like, let's get past the kiss." They were trying to uncover him actually liking her, but nobody there knew that. And so it was wild, man. It was wild.
Go on, sis. Go on, say it.
I still feel like.
Yes. What do you feel like? What do you feel? Let us feel what you
Look,
feel.
We subscribe, man. Like, share.
You've been blocking my moves, bro.
Yeah.
I have to say this.
I was just playing a question.
I have to say something, and I want you to like really try to.
Yeah, come on, sis. Come on.
Try to hear what I'm saying. Because it's still, I still have to say it, and I know I probably should, but I just have to say it.
Go on.
I don't want this to be a we're bashing Keith situation. No. Like, it's just not the case. For me, it's about honesty. Don't lie on me and say I did something that I didn't do. And then I was still feeling like I had to protect your character in that. Like, even now I feel uncomfortable because it seems like this person is not here to defend themselves or to say whatever they would like to say, and we're dragging him. And that's not the type of person that I am. I don't do stuff like that. Like, I would like to be able to talk to my truth. So I would like for other people to do the same thing. And the same way that we expect grace as human beings is the same thing that we should extend to other people. So sitting here is so uncomfortable for me. Just, like, it's not about like Keith. It's about just
the principle, like the principle, how you look at it overall. But when somebody's being misleading intentionally, the gloves are off. That's how I'm looking at it.
I've got no grace for him. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Right. All that honey shit.
My name is F boy.
Whatever. That all that shit is out the window, bro. That's a dead situation.
Yeah, and I can't be mad at you for that. Just like I don't think it's fair.
For us like, to I get you saying.
Position.
But you.
No, I mean I get that. I get that. I do get it. But I think
we knew that Keith wasn't. We knew he had ill intent. He didn't call and say. He didn't say congratulations on the wedding. That was a wake up call.
To me, it's done.
Like, with him, he really wasn't a friend.
He was never a friend. But then again, I mean, that's how that's like I said, it might be my insecurities. You know what I mean? That's why I wanted to put that
in somebody.
You know?
When you want a romantic interest, that's not platonic at all. That's not even close.
Yeah,
to it.
I definitely agree with that. I definitely agree with that. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I don't know. Like we all
you're talking about the principle of it. You're not talking about key. You're talking about you're not comfortable with. Yeah. You don't like. That's not you. That's not your personality. I get it. I understood it, and that's what got her in trouble. And that's what. That's why when I say got her in trouble, like there was a scene like she was so mad when they cut like the final like edit scene or whatever. Keith says the whole oh, it's not my job to protect y'all or whatever he says, right? I say the nephew Tommy voice. And I was like, yo, that's a dead situation, bro. Like, let's cut. But they stopped it right there, right? And she was mad because of what she just said. She didn't want him to look lame. She wasn't trying to bring him on TV to bash him. As I with my mom, you know what I mean? Like that, like we're not those type of people. Like I didn't bring you here to make you look bad. I'm just trying to get the truth on the table. Truth. Yeah, and the truth is ugly sometimes, and that's all it is. The truth is ugly. He accepted that. He understood where we were. It's no beef. It's cordial, and
but we can't choose who we lay the truth out for and who we don't. And I'm just gonna leave it at that. Like it has to be across the board, and no one should be exempt.
Right.
No, I get that.
You feel I feel like she's indirectly saying I didn't tell the truth about something. Yeah, say what you got to say. Because I can only speak for myself. I use my words out of my mouth. I can't speak for how you would say something.
I mean, to be honest, listen, I'm an as you see my name there, ex-church F boy, okay, but it's not even the fullness. I'm an ex-F boy, right? And I'll be honest with you, okay. So when I saw it, I'm not gonna lie to you. This is why us men did a version of the particular video. Because I actually shot 2 videos. I did one with a female and then one with Sean. I didn't release the female one because she was on that last episode. Okay. But when I was sharing that experience, I was saying that I have been in a situation like we talk about this on the show, right? Called Dark Arts, right? I've been in positions where, let me be very honest with you. Yeah, a lot of us guys, this here is dark. You understand? Yeah. If I see you two now, like this is how my mind works. If I see you two now on the show, I'm taking down everything that you guys have said. Anything that can be used against you, I'm going to use it against you. I'm going to use it against you. I'm going to use it to try and weed gap between the two of you, right? And the thing is, a lot of people, a lot of guys, and there's a lot of women too, but we're talking about specifically the guys, all right, don't have good intention. You know what I'm saying? And I always talk about foundations, how people start, oftentimes is how they end up going. Do you know what I mean? So that's why I was asking the questions earlier on about, okay, the beginning, he's not started off on the right footing. So I know for your mind, you had friend zoned him, but like you actually can't friend zone a guy who really wants you. Eventually, it's gonna come out. It's gonna come out. The truth of how he really feels. It's gonna come out because he's been harboring that for years. I can tell you now, he's been harboring. He's been feeling it. Like, and this is not a bash to him. This is just how us guys be thinking. It's been sitting on him, and part of me is thinking to myself, if this has been harboring on you for so long, you've missed opportunities. Because you could have had other women out here, but you haven't. And that's what makes it even more scary because you've been harboring that for so long. Just like a gas tank, if you keep on squeezing it, eventually it's going to pop. And I think the show just gave him that room to pop and move out. And I think a lot of people were, especially for the guys who were looking at like, girl, you telling me you don't know that this guy is trying to make moves? And then you're getting warned that he's making moves and still you're defending him? And I get that you're loyal, or we couldn't understand it.
Right, and we had that conversation like amongst my group of friends, like my male friends, like they gave it to me in a perspective of like the whole collateral damage thing was easy for him to do because she never accepted him in that light. So he didn't mind hurting her or making up something to where I'm from Louisiana, Southern Baptist. We did like, don't let people question your witness, right? Like a spiritual, like a church thing they say in church, right? And let your yes be yes. So he put her reputation in jeopardy, or I could smear her name if I say this, or if I make it appear this way. Because bro, when I say that came from left field, that's why her sister is laughing like, oh, she's so confident that what he's saying is a lie. It's comical to her. And I even tell him that like, bro, if I didn't exist, you realize like if he still
wouldn't happen.
Bro, you had a 12-year head start. It's nothing else to say.
But I think the reason why I guess I couldn't see it, again, we didn't live in the same state. We did not talk every day. So it wasn't everyday interaction for me to be picking up on signs. I think that's the confusion there. I didn't see Keith every day. We weren't around each other every day. He had to come in town for my my birthday party. You see what I'm saying? So how can I see signs with somebody that I'm not seeing every day, somebody that I'm not talking to every single day? There was nothing to see.
I mean, the brother came behind you and started trying to pretend to whine.
You know what's crazy though? You know what's crazy? Yeah, no, you know what's crazy? And I told this to Sean in the last interview. Like, Keith was, like he literally would like she would be like, yo, why you don't ever check on me no more? He's like, well, you got a man now. Like I call him out of respect. I call a man of the house, and so he was solid, but I knew what he had did a while ago, so I was never going to trust him. But I could respect that mindset, so I kept it cordial with him. But I think other people got in his ear and led him to believe like the situation with family and fiance was to make him look away, right? Because I expressed to this particular person that he's very close with that, you know, I was displeased by his character, his behavior, that the night of her birthday party. Even if I don't believe you're her best friend, right? Let's say the whole world and I'm in denial. You should carry yourself like a best friend. I'm not gonna have a fight at my best friend's party. Yeah. I'm not gonna disrespect somebody else's spouse at my best friend's party. You see what I'm saying? And I'm damn sure not going to disrespect my best friend's spouse at my best friend's party. 100. Like so for those reasons, man, it was just like you're right. There's no reason to talk. I was never cool with you. It's only by association anyway. So it's no beef, but you know, we keep it pushing.
But now I get what everybody was saying, and I hate that I just didn't go with it.
And he was so mad at you. He was like, yo, she had to smash this guy. I'm telling you.
I was like, I'm like, so now people talk about who I done slept with, and if I did sleep with him, like I would have. I don't know. It would have been a different.
You know what the other man. I hate to say this because we're in the Me Too movement, and you know it's a sensitive subject. But in LGBTQ, we respect it, but I do have friends that's homophobic, right? And they would say this is no different from like if one of the homeboys was undercover gay, right? But he lied about it for years. It's the same energy. Like, you betrayed me, bro. Like why wouldn't I wouldn't judge you? Like, you know what I mean? And I guess if they're homophobic, they probably would judge him. But you know, but the point is like that's how, but they feel disrespected in that regard. Like you could have been who you
open
are
about
and let me make that decision if I was going to befriend you or not.
Yeah.
No, I get that. Don't worry. You know, Philisia, I've forgiven you now. You know what I mean? I've forgiven you. My heart palpitations.
I told Sean, this is like the cardinal sin. I get it. It's a sensitive situation. This is like the one thing you should not do as a man.
As a guys, this is the one thing that gives us heart palpitations. But it's because, like I said, like my name says, a lot of us have listen, I'm gonna be honest with you. I've taken people's girls before, so I know how easy it is to fall prey, because this is why Adam and Eve in the Bible is that situation. If you allow a snake to have time to talk, he will eventually use that forked tongue to be able to speak lies into a situation that get people confused. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I think for us guys, we see it as that perspective that we can't accept someone being that close because we know what we might have done in the past, or we've seen other brothers in the past do. So it's a bit different for us. It's a very touchy subject for us. Yeah. But now you've explained a little bit more. I'm kind of seeing what you're saying. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But we're glad you've seen the light, you know, okay? Because we're with you now, okay? You know. So no, honestly, I appreciate. Like I said, I appreciate you too, because you guys have some really, you know, bold and honest conversations. You know, and you guys have helped us today. So, you know, I'm even going to go on live after and have a deep chats. Maybe some people want to release how they feel. So we're going to give them some space to do that, you know, just because I'm seeing some of the comments here, which are really powerful from.
Oh, comments right now. Oh,
yeah, man. The comments are there, man. Oh, you can't see it, can you?
Tell us. We can't see that.
Yeah, it's probably not for the best. No, don't read the comments, man. So,
it's for the best. I love the I feel like the
I'm lying. They've been good. They've been good. They've been good.
Well, thank you all.
But yes, audience people, please follow them on their channel, Daryl and Philisia. Please follow them on their channel and support.
Is it?
It's Philisia and Daryl.
Is it Philisia and Daryl? Oh, yeah, Daryl and Philisia.
One of the two.
She created it, so it's one of the two.
And you have a you said you run is it dance class or dance school as well?
I own a dance company, yeah. So I work full time as a supplier quality engineer, but I own a dance company.
Sick. What kind of dancing is it?
We do ballet, jazz, hip hop, acrobatics, and tumbling, modern, everything.
Okay, because I'm about the dance life. You already know. Okay, cool. All right. I'll check that out as well. All right, cool.
It's Fearless headquarters, by the way.
We're both creatives, man. I'm a writer, so poets, scripts, plays, whatever. And you can that's probably where our passion comes from. But yeah, man.
No, I appreciate you. I appreciate you guys so much, man. So, audience members, thank you so much. We appreciate you for tuning in, and we wish you guys well. And we'll be praying as well, supporting you. And we want to hear some good stories. When we get to catch up with you guys soon in the future as well. So,
thank you for having us, man.
All right, thank you.
No worries. Audience, see you later. Appreciate you guys. Stay locked, stay loaded. We will see you once again soon.